All right, welcome back. Let's talk about really quickly, maybe in about a few minutes, 5 minutes or so. Let's talk about Judy and YUL, EDOCHIE. These people, the gift that keeps giving. But there was some story that came up over the last few weekends. You probably might have seen it. You know, but I wanted to bring you guys up to speed. Um, there was a story that came out about how she was able to attract him back. You know, um, I don't believe anything about this story, but I just thought I'll bring some quick updates since we kind of covered that news here. Okay. Just in case you don't know who we're talking about YUL is one of the actors, not actors, actors in Nigeria, and some a little while back, about a year ago, he came out, decided to tell us how he was fantasizing about being a polygamist. And at the time, I said this guy is fantasizing. He can't really be a polygamist, Shortly after that, he just kept making the news, Um, and we basically watched everything went down the drains. Unfortunately, that included one of his sons passed away in the spirit of that. Let me see here. That's YUL right there on the left hand side. Okay, and to the right hand side, he's a side chick who he's forcefully trying to turn to a wife, but she's had two kids for him now. So basically, he lost her son, the son that he had with his first wife, the lady in the picture with him, and then he went to Instagram and deleted everything, all of the pictures and stuff like that. Deleted everything, you know, and then less than 2 weeks later or so, there's a video started to come on his pages on YouTube, on Facebook, of the side chick. What's her name? The lady in black, right to your right. A video started to come, and basically her celebrating that she's a winner. I'm a winner, right? She sang songs celebrating, thanking God, and all of that, right? And another video came out of them singing, "Oh, break my heart, tell me you love me again." Right? They were singing together in the car riding, and people were like, these ones are weirdos. You just lost a son. Are you mad? Your first son. Are you whining Jesus? Right? People started to ask, like, what is wrong with this guy? Are you whining Jesus? Right? People were like, this is crazy. Few weeks later. So now, one of the bloggers, Gist Lovers, came out with a story saying that basically, allegedly, reportedly, she called the side chick, Judy. She called YUL because it was morning, and he had reportedly reached out to her that, like, let's just stop everything for now. We're mourning and all this kind of stuff, right? And she said, well, my prophet would like to talk to you. This is YUL. This is Judy, the side chick, saying this. My prophet would like to talk to you. And it was like, well, it's not the time for that, blah, blah, blah. We're mourning. Let's just leave everything to lie be right now. This is the reports, right? But somehow they were able to get to him. They brought the prophet over to the house, and the prophet now said, well, your first wife is trying to delete you. Not only is she trying to delete you, she tried to delete your new son, because when he announced, remember I said he's a fake polygamist, he announced, basically said, well, he impregnated a side chick, she had a baby, and she's trying to force it into polygamy. That's what I see happening. That happens a lot. Majority of what we've called polygamy over the past few decades are basically side chick turned into wives. They never really come home, they live outside. Okay, That's usually the case. Okay, so there's a bunch of, in my opinion, our generation is cowards when it comes to polygamy. That's not how to practice polygamy. Polygamy means you, with your full chest, you say, hey, I'm marrying multiple wives, and everybody kind of know that's the lifestyle I want. But trying to flip a side chick to polygamy, you can, a lot of people are pulling it off, let's be honest, but that's not what polygamy is. Okay, but anyway, the prophet came home and said, hey, this is what's happening. And when she tried to delete you and your new son with your side chick, it flipped back on her, and that's why she lost her son. And the story is saying that's how they were able to get him. So now he's actively trying to shame his first wife, and basically he's very angry. Remember, if you remember one of the times I covered here, I said, was it here on Auntie B Show? I said, this is anger. This is a man who has lost himself. There's nothing normal about a person losing their child just a few weeks ago, and now they're roaming around town, cruising with the side chick, celebrating, posting videos on YouTube, on Facebook. There's nothing normal. You remember I said that, like, this is there's something wrong here, right? Now the lesson I wanted to pull out of this is some of you that are very quick to believe everything spiritual. These are the kind of things it causes. Okay, I have close family members that are basically victim of this mindset. Okay, very close family members. Once a prophet tells you that this, that, somebody is trying to buy, somebody's trying to delete you, you can't hold yourself together anymore, right? Because our belief system is so, like, we believe that, or at the very minimum, it sows seeds of fear all over our heart, and we can't operate properly anymore, right? You start to have doubt. You're afraid because you believe so much. You're so disconnected from the agency that you have as a human being, the powers that you have as a human being. And the moment somebody says the prophet says somebody tried to delete you, even if you try to control, you can't control yourself anymore. You're just so afraid. You're afraid. You think that it's over. And if you don't believe it, the fear is just as powerful, right? That fear will eat you up, right? The extreme of it is what we're seeing right now with YUL EDOCHIE, if the story is actually true, right? But the truth is that this is happening a lot in the Nigerian community, right? Once your pastor tells you something, you can't use your brain anymore, because the fear will get a grip of your heart and you just can't see through anymore. You know, what kind of life is that? Let's even say they're correct. Let's even say what they saw is the truth. Now you're living in fear for the rest of your life. Is that really a quality? Is that really a good quality of life to live? Just think about it, right? Just think, is that really a good quality of life? What's the point if you're going to live in this world and you have to look over your shoulder every second for the rest of your life? I can't trust. I have trust issues. Like, what kind of quality of life do you have with that? Weigh the two. Yes, I can't trust. Something tampered with because of some type of betrayal, with my ability to trust, right? But then living the life where I'm not able to trust. Think about it. We've got a serious problem in that society, right? You have to pick one. Like, even if they're correct, why would you want to live a life where you're just operating out of fear? A lot of the rhetorics that we have around relationships they're fear-based. That's why, regardless, they won't work. But let me get back to some of your comments. Let's look at your comments. That's basically the update, really, right there. Again, once you subject yourself to some of this mindset, there's no coming back from it. It's very tough to come back from it. So I don't even know. I don't know if you can come back safely out of this. The damages are way too much. Okay, I doubt it. If it doesn't hit rock bottom, whatever that means for him, there's no coming back from it. Okay. Kenneth says, if Anambra or Igbo man tells you he's a polygamist, believe him. What about the result is creating? I believe him. The results are saying otherwise. The result is disconnected from the face. The result is creating is disconnected from the whatever he's fantasizing about is disconnected from the reality, you know. So I agree with you. I should believe him, but the result is saying otherwise. Yeah, she's not a side chick. She's his second wife. She's a side chick. Second chick. It's okay. It's not a crime. Side chicks can have children, okay? But Yoruba people said, any be more funny, and that means if somebody had a child for you, they're no longer a concubine. But it's a proverb, okay? It's not necessarily the reality of things. That's why it's a proverb. That's why we call it a proverb, right? Yoruba sọ pé tí ọ̀rọ̀ bá sọnù òwe la fi ń wá. We use proverb to find meanings. We used to find meanings, right? That's what that's supposed to do. But the reality is still the reality. The result you are creating is still your result. If you're married a second wife and your first wife said, I don't want to be a part of it, that's your definition of polygamy. Yeah. They're not polygamists. They can manage 2 women at once. They are just cheats. Yeah, precisely. Let's just, you remember we like to call a spade what it is, right? You know, so no. If you remarried, you're a divorcee, you remarried another person, we can't call that polygamist now. You know what I'm saying? Right? Nah, go hard up. It's not hard enough. Or rather, they can't handle 2 wives at once. They sneak around like rats. Yeah, even I'll give it to him. He has a better, boldness. Like, let me just come to the public and flip this to a wife. It didn't work out. It's a struggle from everything we can see so far, A man told you he's a polygamist, you calling him a cheater. I don't know how that makes any sense. Yeah, I can't convince you it make any sense today. Not today. I'm waiting for that DM, by the way. Polygamy has ruined the African continent as a whole. Nothing good comes out of it. Polygamy, it depends. See, I won't say polygamy has ruined. I won't say polygamy has ruined anything. It's when you get into a type of relationship and there's disagreement. If we don't agree, there are people that practice polygamy successfully. There are, right? But we know that in our society, because we're trying to embrace westernization at the same time as traditionalism, there's a disconnect again. There's a disagreement. Could it work? It's not the fault of polygamy. It's that 2 human beings did not subscribe to the same thing and they're trying to force it to work. When there's division, a house divided against itself cannot stand. That's the issue, not necessarily the practice of polygamy. When you look at it at its core, that's what's going on. He paid a bride price, so that's his wife. Yeah, in that respect, we get that. But this is a man who is westernized, so nah. You can't. Again, the results is saying other things. Okay, think about it. Ekene, would you, God forbid, do you think a man who lost a son a few weeks ago and is now driving around town, is that normal? There's something off there now. Again, look at the results. Never mind the semantics. In that respect, you're right. How about that? You're right. Okay? The results is disagreeing that you're right. Okay? He said, Ojukokoro, long throat. Polygamy hasn't done Africa any bad. Monogamy has destroyed the West. Nope. You can't blame any of it. It's divided. The house divided against the division, right? Divide and conquer is what destroys stuff. There's no one type of practice. There's no one religion that's destroying anything. But when people disagree, or when people are lukewarm in how they believe in a certain, when there's division, it won't work. No matter how perfect the practice is or the religion is, if there's disconnect, it's people that's destroying everything, because they subscribe to one thing but they try to flip it to something else, right? It can't work, And if he comes and say, my wife doesn't want to participate in polygamy, but henceforth I'm going to have 3rd, 4th, 5th wife, then maybe I can take that in. But it's not that guy. He was cheating, and and you try to flip it. When you were cheating and you go and pay bride price, you might just create this kind of results. Okay, so it makes all the sense in the world. He was sneaking around with multiple women for a while. Then he was cheating with Judy for about 6 years. She's a glorified side chick, not a wife. Wahala. Ekene, let's do it like this. She's half a wife. Chinye, let's do it like this. She's half a side chick. Are we happy now? Let's see. A polygamist lets the first wife know what the deal is of the bae, not sneaking around. Impregnate a woman and paid bride price to have access to his son. I beg. Hey D, good to see you, D. D said hello, MOP and the Prestige fam. I hope I didn't come in too late. No, we didn't even touch the topics yet. We're about to get into the topic now. Here with my Jameson, Sprite, and ice once again. Take it easy on the soda, eh? No sugar for you. Ekene says, you want to reject what our ancestors have set in place. I think we have rejected a lot of what our ancestors set in place by embracing technology at all. You know, by embracing technology at all. There's so many ways we've rejected it, you know. But it's the natural course order of things. I don't blame us for that. It's just how things work. Evolution, right? Or devolution, as you might like to call it. But change is the only constant in life. Polygamy is a man's need to continue his legacy. If you have a problem with it, go to God and our ancestors. Okay, if you say so. YUL has been cheating on his wife for years. What has May had to put up with because of marriage? YUL is a cheater. He has no concept of what being a real polygamist is. He can't undo one. Hey, Ola. Hey, Yvette. To be fair, a lot of our forefathers, they weren't exactly cheating because it was accepted largely by the society. But they weren't exactly planning to take on a second wife when they took one on. They were messing with another chick. A lot of times our mothers were aware because it's just accepted, right? There was no westernization. But then once, you get pregnant, it's like, it's time. Let's introduce you to everybody. After all, our society welcomes it. But once we start to get westernized, right? Men are now, a lot of men, majority of men, the last thing they want is a second wife. Okay, that's the last thing they want. I'm not talking about men in the red pill space or manosphere fantasizing online about polygamy. I'm talking about majority of men. Okay, the last thing they want is to be a polygamy. They might be more prone to cheating or messing with multiple women. That's a different conversation altogether. But the idea of bringing two women under the same roof, it's just it's not 1963. Like, what do you want me to tell you? Okay, that's just wasn't the plan. Okay, and even when they impregnate people these days, maybe in the 90s, they will bring the side chick home and say, the sisters, the family say, let's just beg her, let's just apologize and say, Oriomo, maybe the person was looking for children, and say, Oriomo, embrace each other, build together. Maybe even back in the 90s, they still did that. As soon as we enter the 2000s, you have more men saying, I'm trying to deal with one woman, and you're asking me to deal with the second one. If I want to have side chick, I have side chick. What's with this multiple polygamy? That's the conversation. If there's any conversation, a lot of this is silent rules. Okay? If there's any conversation at all, right? But I think in the spirit of trying to force what is not into what it is, like forcing what do you call it? A hole into a cycle into a square or vice versa. I don't know which one. But like, well, since they're still cheating and having multiple girls anyways, it's just in their nature. Let's flip it. There's division. It can't work. Okay? It can't work. On a general scale, it won't work. Okay? The best thing is that say, hey, I'm a polygamist. And you can say it at any point in time. You don't have to have said it in the beginning, contrary to what you said earlier. At any point that you've said, I decide I want to do this. It could be 6 years into your first marriage. You say, hey, I've decided I want to be a polygamist, And then your wife will say, well, I don't want to be a part of that. You're in Oyo. And then you can freely say, that's fine if you want to move on, but I'm going to marry another wife. and then I'm not going to stop at one at that point in time. And then at that point, maybe we can with full chest say we're back to what naturally we are, right? If that's what you claim. But it's just different times. I'm sorry. I know you're fantasizing about this. It's too far disconnected from the reality. Okay, I will agree with you on that. The way he went about it was childish, but he's a polygamist. I might consider a little bit too, but until he marries the third wife, which will now be officially the second, for now, no. We're gonna leave it at that. My dear, it's been on for 1 hour 28 minutes. I was late too. I will catch up. We're here. We're yet to cover the real story. You're just making excuses. There are many men who do not believe in that. Men for the largest part, they don't want polygamy. Okay, they don't. Not today's men. Okay. The process of becoming the second wife was through being a side chick. That is how you take a second wife. Yeah. On paper, I may even agree. Yes, it's a second wife. Until she actually files for divorce. On paper. But again, the paper stuff, it's just paper. I beg, leave a Kenny alone now. Take it easy. Chie, me too. I joined late. Okay, we're here. Let's see. That don't believe in it. Those men that don't believe in it have their choice. That's separate from the tradition. But our tradition accepts polygamy, and there's nothing you and I can say about it. I have a question. Isn't tradition a moving target? I want you to answer that. Isn't tradition a moving target? As in, like, it's literally evolving right before our eyes, and it's changed quite a lot since the beginning of mankind. What you consider tradition today would people 2,000 years ago consider it tradition? Just a question for you. What your ancestors created years ago is wreaking havoc to our continent. We should be progressive and not retrogressive. Just like they used to buy twins in Igbo land, it has to be. It's not my opinion, it's a fact. Yeah, so for a fact, is tradition a moving target? Abi is being the same since the beginning of mankind. Just a question. Ola, how successful is successful? Good question. Let's be very frank with ourselves. Even with those whom seem to be successful, there's still polygamous wahala. It's all a moving target. I guess you're talking about my question about polygamy has been destroying. Again, we have monogamy, 50% divorce rate. So what are we talking about? How do we define success exactly on a general scales, in a societal scale, right? It's all a moving target. It brings us back to individual by individual, right? The fact's not showing me that he's a polygamist. Ola, is it selfish of him not to take a year to mourn a son? Yeah. I'm saddened that he's not taking this time to mourn his first child. That's what I'm saying. A lot of what we know is lining up to be that there's something wrong. This has his results. These are his results, and we have to kind of look at that, right? Yep. His family has completely fallen apart. That's not how polygamy works. Yeah, it's not polygamy or monogamy for it. It's how a man is moving, period. Like how he's moving. If he moved this way inside of monogamy, it will create the same result. If he moved this way in polygamy, he will create the same result. A man has to know how to put a man brings order into his own house, right? Order, structure, security. That's what I call masculine energy. It's his responsibility to do that. Everything else may be chaotic, but he's that one that everyone counts on to bring order and not perpetuating it, right? Polygamy is an avenue for a man to sustain his legacy. Nah. Polygamy and just recreation is not, or procreation is not the same thing. You're trying to make polygamy and procreation synonymous, and they're not. You know, a man, I see you guys are here battling with the kene. No, we're about to give me another 2 minutes. I just want to make sure I cover everybody's thoughts. A man can sustain his legacy by just marrying a wife. Marrying multiple wives and causing chaos in his family leaves a nyama nyama legacy. Precisely. especially in the world we live in today, is a man who has misplaced priorities. And usually, okay, because again, there are societies and religion that still practice this, and they have a structure around how they go about this, right? So, yep, I believe what you have explained. Thank you, Jared, Yvette. I appreciate that. Let's see. You do not need more than a wife. Everybody's a kid can handle all of you, I'm sure. We need link. Not yet. I might do a session. If we don't do links today, we'll do links tomorrow, I promise. Okay. So if the man is impotent, can the woman go get another? Hey, sign language. Let's see. Tradition is a movie target. This is not 1860. Wait till. Our tradition and all religions are moving targets. Thank you, Ekene. I knew it. I know you agree with that. So again, what we're talking about here, right? But let's get into the real story of the day. Let's get into the real story of the day. See, me too, I was relaxing. I was enjoying it. Right? But good stuff. Shout out to all 40 of you listening to me. We're missing about 17 likes. If you can go ahead and hit the like button, and I'll be